The first type of trees that cause problems for arborists are leaners. Most tactics in felling trees revolve around shifting the center of gravity to where you want the tree to fall, and allowing gravity to do the work. Trees that are leaning naturally have a center of gravity that is not in the center of the tree. This causes an issue when the lean is towards an area that needs to stay protected. In order to fell a leaning tree, also known as a leaner, a simple but effective tactic is to use wedges in combination with the wedge tactic. In order to get the tree to fall where you want it to, the center of gravity needs to be shifted towards there. In order to do this, a small wedge is cut out, just like the wedge tactic, from one side. And then a short and shallow back cut is made. In this back cut, wedges, small metal pieces of metal, are pounded in order to stand the tree straight up. Once the tree is standing straight up, the center of gravity has been put into the center of the tree and allows the arborist to fell it in the direction he would like to. The wedges will stand the tree straight up so that the feller can drop the tree as if it was just like an ideal tree. Leaners are just one of the many different kinds of problematic trees that pose a challenge to those unfamiliar with physics. This is an example for a leaning tree that needs to be felled opposite of the lean. The lean of this tree is going towards the house and needs to be felled going this way. In order to do this, a wedge would be cut out on this side, like so, facing the direction you'd want it to fall. Following that, a shallow back cut would be cut into the back, and metal wedges would be pounded to straighten the tree. Once the tree was straightened out, an external force would be used to keep tension on the tree and pull it down that way. Another issue with felling trees that a tree feller often runs into is trees that have uneven branches. Uneven branches shift the tree's center of gravity even if the trunk of the tree is perfectly perpendicular to the ground. For example, which way do you think this tree would like to fall? To the right or to the left? Now if you said to the right, you are correct, and probably already have a basis of physics. If you said to the left, I'll explain why. Since the tree has more branches or weight on the right, the tree will want to fall towards the right. If the tree can be dropped safely to the right, then a wedge and back cut tactic would work well. If not, the tree needs to be dropped to the left, and a different tactic should be used. Again, the center of gravity needs to be shifted towards the direction in which you want it to fall, and in order to do this, a wedge should first be cut in the direction of the desired drop area, which would be on the left side. After that is done, an external force should be applied to pull on the tree in the same direction. A truck is often used to apply this external force. Often a rope or chain will be tied to the tree and to the truck. This external force will provide tension. Tension is a force that is transmitted just through a rope or chain and pulls equally on both ends. The force of tension that comes from the truck or man pulls the tree towards the desired side, so that while the back cut is being made, the tree will be forced in that direction. This is a safe way to fell a tree with uneven branches. But felling trees doesn't only involve standing trees, it also involves down trees. There are many reasons that trees may be down, whether it be due to Mother Nature or they were previously felled. But even if a tree is on the ground or has fallen onto another tree, physics still apply. Arborists must use their knowledge of physics to properly cut fallen trees. A tree that has fallen onto another tree or has many large branches is a mess of tension and compression areas. Being able to determine which areas are under tension and which are under compression is key. So for example, this branch here is being pulled on by the force of gravity. The force of gravity pulls on the whole branch, but this side is supported by the rest of the tree, while this side is out hanging. This creates compression points along the bottom here. Most of the compression gets built up in the middle right here. Arborists know this, and they know that doing an upcut there with the chainsaw would cause their blade to get pinched. Therefore, they would do a downcut coming up from the top into the tension area. This tension area is created by the same force of gravity pulling down on the end of the branch as it stretches the top of the branch. The areas under tension are stretch spots, mainly being stretched because of this force of gravity. And the areas under compression are pinch points, mainly being pinched because of the force of gravity. As gravity pulls down on a branch sticking out, the bottom of the branch compresses. The stretch spots and the pinch points are always found opposite of each other, whether the tension is on top or bottom. Knowing all of this allows the arborist to cut the tree without pinching the blade or unexpectedly dropping a branch. In addition to down trees, there are some rare situations that physics are especially needed. When rare situations come up in tree felling, the tree feller must use their knowledge of physics to determine how to cut the tree safely. One example of a rare situation is when a tree is being held down by another tree or a foreign object like a branch from another tree. These trees are called spring poles because they're elastic potential energy. Elastic potential energy is potential energy stored as a result of a deformation of an elastic object, which is really just referring to the energy that comes from stretching a stretchy object. Believe it or not, trees can be stretchy. When a branch or foreign object falls into a relatively thin or stretchy tree, the tree may become bent over. In this situation, the tree feller should start by making a relief cut on top of the stretched tree, which would be up here. As they cut here, it will relieve some of the tension that is built up on top of the branch. They will cut about halfway down. The relief cut removes much of, but not all, the tension that is applied by the branch or foreign object. If too much tension is removed, the tree will snap uncontrollably and may cause accidents. If too little is removed, there will be too much compression on the bottom side of the stretched tree, causing the saw blade to pinch when the tree feller comes up from the bottom. With just the right amount of tension removed, the feller can begin to shave the bottom of the stretched tree until the tree cracks from a combination of tension and compression building up. The tree feller would come in and shave the bottom until the tree controllably snaps. This is the safest way to do it. Special cases of tree felling also involve Mother Nature. Weather is either on the side of the tree feller or totally against. Precipitation such as rain and snow are not as important regarding the weather as wind is. Wind plays an important factor in tree felling and changes the physics. A tree in any of the situations as mentioned previously has to be reconsidered on windy days. Wind blowing in the direction in which you want the tree to fall can be helpful as long as you are aware of how much it will or won't help. But if the wind is blowing the opposite direction of where you want the tree to fall, special consideration must be taken. Wind puts tension on the tree sporadically and unpredictably. A strong gust of wind has the potential to shift a tree's center of gravity significantly. For this reason, tactics that are used for leaners and uneven branches should be used on windy days. For example, if wind is blowing to the right and you have a house on the right and the tree needs to go to the left, certain tactics such as the ones like using a truck with a rope should be used. The truck with a rope will combat the tension being forced onto the tree by the wind. The tension coming from the truck will pull this way as the wind goes that way. The truck generally should have enough force to combat and beat the wind, pulling the tree in the desired direction. The two tensions from the wind and the truck will cancel each other out, or even so that the truck will beat it out, and this will allow the tree to be cut safely. Weather is a strong force that should never be ignored when cutting down trees. So now that you know all about tree felling and how much physics truly applies to it, I challenge you, the next time you see your do-it-yourself neighbor trying to fell a tree, to ask them if they are familiar with the physics involved in cutting them down. And if they aren't, you should be careful that an accident like this...
Oh, here goes, and it's going the wrong way! Oh my gosh! Well, I don't think I got that, but that was not good at all.
Or this. Doesn't happen. And if you get to talk to an arborist, you may want to ask them about the physics that they use while safely felling trees. Good luck!